Hello Legion, this is Hadrian. Thank you for being here. I've got some news. Civilization 6 is getting its first expansion on the 8th of February, 2018. Yeah, that's like 2 months away if you're watching this video when it first comes out. So let's go over the just announced Civilization 6 Rise and Fall. Rise and Fall has two major themes. More dynamic gameplay throughout the game, that's an important point, especially in the later eras, and added emphasis on creating rich, unique, and emergent stories with every playthrough. My first impression upon going over the announcement a few times and preparing this video and thinking about the implications of the content that's been announced is very positive. And if I meant to be tentative about that, I would say so, I assure you. Civilization 6 players have a lot to be excited about here. Not only do the changes Firaxis has planned tackle existing complaints with Civilization 6, such as the difficulty with competitively playing tall empires as opposed to wide empires. So it's harder to play tall than it was in, say, Civilization 5, than it is to play wide. That's one complaint. And the game's stagnating towards the final era. So you get to a point in the game and you just kind of, you're doing the same things every turn. You're just trying to hold on to your lead. You're trying to make sure that your armies hold off the other players' armies and that you get nukes before everyone else, etc., and so on and so forth. There's not as much dynamism in that final maybe 50, even 100 turn stretch as there were in the first 50 or 100 turns. So a couple of complaints there. Not only are those tackled and addressed quite nicely, even in just this initial announcement, but several brand new mechanics have been added which aim to make Civilization 6 richer and more nuanced from turn to turn, hopefully while maintaining the broad accessibility that has made Civilization titles so successful in the past. So what I'm going to show you in this video is based on lead designer Anton Strenger's initial dev diary announcing Rise and Fall. So I'd first like to tip my hat to him for taking the time to detail the expansion so well when the trailer was released. It's an awesome dev diary, and I will link to both the dev diary and the trailer in the description below, so check those out if you'd like. Second, you should definitely be aware that this video is only covering that initial announcement, so if you're watching it later, there could be more information. The announcement makes it clear that, and I'm quoting here, lots more information is coming on top of everything that I'm about to talk about. So I might very well be making some additional videos and turning this into a playlist as more on this expansion is revealed. If so, and if that's happened by the time you're watching this, you might have just seen it pop up in a suggestion. If not, keep your eyes peeled for that in the future. As usual, here's a table of timestamps. If you'd like to jump to a specific point in the video to learn about what interests you most, these are the times you'll need to aim for. So I'll leave that there for a second while I go back to the two major aspects of Civilization 6 that everything in this expansion, including what's on this screen and what's going to be announced after this, is targeting. More dynamic empires and gameplay, and more immersive and emergent storytelling. So when I talk about dynamic empires, what that means is that in general, civilizations are going to rise and fall throughout the actual game. So yes, you might have civilizations being defeated, but you also will have golden and dark ages, which I'll talk about in a second. Borders will actually be a little bit more dynamic as well. Not the literal tile-by-tile borders, but cities that are bordering other empires that might have, say, wavering loyalties can actually switch sides based on how good of a job you do at keeping them loyal to you. And then as far as deeper storytelling goes, there are now several, many, I'll talk about this in more detail shortly, but there are several historic moments that can now be earned as ways to earn certain bonuses in gameplay, as well as just kind of let you know as you play a game of Civilization 6, hey, you're the first in the world to do this in this timeline. You've achieved this. They're kind of mini achievements, ways to earn bonuses by being the first to do things. And the game, by compiling these, will more clearly help visualize your unique story as it progresses, which is a really cool thing. And frankly, I've wanted them to do stuff like that since Civilization 6 was released to vanilla. So I couldn't be happier to hear that they're going to add a richer storytelling focus in the very first expansion. I knew that they might do it. I thought maybe second expansion. Maybe if they do a third expansion. I know they don't typically do that. Civ 5 had 2 expansions. Civ 6 is probably going to have 2 as well. But if they did a third, maybe they do storytelling later. But they're doing it in the first one, which is really cool. So without further ado, you've looked at the timestamps long enough. Let's talk about Golden and Dark Ages. These, first of all, they last for an entire technological age, right? So you might, as Europe did, have a dark age around the medieval part of the timeline. These golden and dark ages are dynamic. You can have a dark age that follows a golden age or vice versa. When you have a golden age, it makes it harder to earn another one later on. When you have a dark age, it makes it easier to earn a golden age later on. And also, Dark Ages will allow the use of certain Dark Age policies. So you have certain issues. You definitely have penalties to loyalty, which again, I'm going to talk about next. But you also have these policies that you get when you are in a Dark Age that give you specific bonuses, even though you're at a disadvantage otherwise. Also, when you're in a Dark Age, you get the opportunity to earn a Heroic Age, specifically as a way of bouncing back from a Dark Age. Heroic Ages are basically, as Anton put it, triple Golden Ages, where you get not one bonus, but 3 bonuses. And these age bonuses are called in the game dedication bonuses. Essentially, with the Golden Age, you get 1 dedication bonus that you can pick. Might be an additional policy of some kind, or maybe a new choice from a different set of cards than the typical policies. And then when you have a Heroic Age, you get 3 of those. So it's like 3 Golden Ages at once when you achieve certain conditions while in a Dark Age. So really, really dynamic way to progress through the timeline on top of the systems that already exist in Civilization 6. Now, speaking of the way the system currently exists, this is interesting too because I don't quite know what to make of this, and hopefully we can have some discussion in the comments. It's noted in this initial announcement that Rise and Fall is shifting toward being more focused on game era as opposed to an individualized player era. So in Civilization 6, in the base game, and I'm paraphrasing directly from the announcement here, the game kind of focuses on what era is each individual player in. Whereas in Rise and Fall, there will also be a game era, an overall age that the world is in. Now again, my understanding of this is limited to the announcement. So there might be more detail that makes more sense of this later on, but it's a very interesting change and just shows a deepening of the mechanic that allows the game to measure the world's progress and things that might happen in the world to all the players, opportunities that might arise for different civilizations to take advantage of based on what is happening in the world as a whole. And just as a minor detail, if you're curious what leads to a Golden Age or a Dark Age, I mentioned as part of the deeper storytelling that there are historic moments that you can use to get certain bonuses. This is that bonus. When you get historic moments, they actually help you build what's called your era score. And your era score determines whether or not you get a Golden Age or a Dark Age, depending on how you did. I'm guessing relative to other players. So you're kind of in competition to see who can outshine the other, or you know, if you fail, you're gonna be doing the opposite of shining. So the key effect, transitioning to the next major change in Rise and Fall, is loyalty of cities. The key effect of Golden and Dark Ages is loyalty. So when you have a Golden Age, all of your cities are going to be more loyal to you. When you have a Dark Age, all of your cities are going to be less loyal to you. What does that mean? Cities in Rise and Fall will be able to declare independence or even revolt to another player's side. Border cities that have basically border pressure in the same way religious pressure works, or a similar way to how religious pressure works. You now have cities that can convert because they are under the influence of another player. It's existed in past Civilization titles, now they're bringing it back. And this is a brand new system, the loyalty system, with, quote, huge stakes. That's per Anton. For the entire game, really. Not just for one age of the game or for the first half of the game. These cities can change hands at any time. And you can flip control of entire cities that don't have enough loyalty, especially during a Dark Age, without using military force whatsoever. And again, it doesn't have to necessarily switch sides directly to another player. Low loyalty can just put cities at risk of becoming a free city, kind of like a city-state, which can then be conquered by anyone if you don't take them back. So again, the way that you make cities loyal is you have kind of a pressure system based on adjacency. So the cities that are going to be most at risk are the ones that might be surrounded by other empire cities. If one empire forward settles you, you have an opportunity to kind of use loyalty pressure against them by surrounding them with your cities and then taking that forward settled city into your own empire without military force at some point in the early to mid game or late game. So that's a really nice way to deal with forward settlers as well, whether it's an AI forward settler, as the AI loves to do, or a human forward settler. There's a risk now to forward settling another player because there's going to be that loyalty pressure. Just to comment on the loyalty system in general, I think Civilization 6 was in dire need of something like this, because one of the things that has always been noticeable, especially about Civilization 6, is that once you control a tile, not even necessarily a city, but just a tile, once you've bought a tile, once it's within your borders, unless another player uses military force against you, that tile is yours. Apart from a culture bomb, which only a few of the civs can do right now. Borders don't shift. There need to be ways in Civilization 6, both in this expansion and in future updates, whatever they may be, whether it's patches, updates, there need to be ways for more territory to change hands in more ways. And the fact that they're adding this as a first step is a great first addition. I mean, I can't think of a cooler system than having cities be loyal to you and have the potential of culture flipping, as it was put in the announcement, to another civilization. Really cool stuff. And then we have governors. Governors are a new type of specialized unit, kind of like great people, but separate from that category. Sending in a governor to a city is a way to kind of specialize how you want a particular city to develop. Now, pay very close attention to everything I'm about to say, particularly if you are one of those players who likes to play tall as opposed to playing wide. Really quickly, for those of you who aren't familiar with those terms, let me explain what I mean, because I used those words earlier, and I want to make sure everyone's on the same page. When you play a strategy game wide, that means your strategy is to go out and build cities and conquer and grow an empire and basically try and take over the world or a large swath of it relative to a smaller empire. You want to compete basically by being hegemonic, by going out and conquering other cities. If you play tall in a civilization game or another strategy game, what that means is you say, no, I'm not going to grow. I just want to have, might be 4 or 5 cities, and those are your cities. And you work on building those up and improving those throughout the game. And because your focus is on improving what you have rather than constantly trying to get more, you can compete that way. Listen closely. Governors, again, are a way to specialize your cities. Governors can also move between cities, so they aren't locked in place. You can transfer their bonuses, whatever they might be, to other cities as you need. Civilizations can have up to 7 governors. Listen to this. Each governor will have a different skill tree of promotions. Every governor unit is unique, and these skill trees are powerful, and they give players the ability to make huge differences in single cities. And again, they can be moved around. So you earn governor titles, you earn governors through gameplay, and this is the part you've all been waiting for. You can then use those governor titles to either hire a new governor or promote an existing one. So you can have up to 7. And you can only have 7, so even wide players can only go so far with this system. You can play wider than 7 cities. But the point is, if you'd like, you can just have 3 or 4 governors and make the ones you have more powerful. This means Civilization 6 is about to take a huge step in February towards facilitating tall gameplay. You can go wide by going with lots, or you can go tall by promoting a few. On top of all that, again, keep in mind, governors are all unique and they have unique personalities from the start. Some may specialize in taking an already established city and making it better. The example given in the dev diary was you may want to boost wonder production or have better trade routes. Some governors may be siege defenders that make a city harder to take by force. There's even one governor that can be assigned to city-states in order to make sure that you hold on to certain envoy-related bonuses and others. I mean, again, they haven't detailed much of this stuff yet, so there could be entirely new ways of looking at city-states and envoys as a result of this one governor type. You never know. I'm not trying to over-speculate, but we don't know very much. You definitely want to keep your eyes peeled and your ears open for more information on this. Again, each governor you control will be a unique mixture of different bonuses. It's just incredibly cool stuff, and again, great news for tall players. The next feature in Rise and Fall is an overhaul to the alliance system. Now, the base system in Civilization 6, when you have an alliance, it basically is just a promise from another player to say, hey, okay, we're allies, I won't harass you, even though you're my neighbor and we have all this border space, I won't bug you and we're allies and you can do your thing. That's pretty much what an alliance is. Whereas in Rise and Fall, they're going to be geared more towards mutual benefit, and here's how. Alliances will now have types, and types can be changed after they're established, but the 5 types are research, military, economic, cultural, or religious. Those are the 5 different types of alliance you can have. The alliance type determines the type of benefits that you get. Here's an example from the dev diary. Level 1 Research Alliance. Both allies receive science bonuses to trade routes. Pretty standard for what you'd expect for a research alliance. Level 2. In addition to that, both allies also get a tech boost at a regular interval, so maybe every 30 turns. You get a random tech boost. Level 3. Both allies, in addition to the level 1 and level 2 bonuses, maintaining themselves, both allies also get bonus science points when researching the same tech at the same time, or a technology that your ally has already looked at. So that's just an example of how an alliance can upgrade over time. Now, as I've been saying this, you might be saying, wait a minute, do alliances have levels now? Yes, as an alliance continues, it gains levels and more powerful benefits like the ones you just heard about. This is going to help encourage long-term diplomatic play, either between AI players, hopefully, we'll see, or between human players especially. So again, alliance types can be changed after they're established as well, but it really enables you to get more out of each alliance that you establish and think about how you can use alliances to turn the tables on other players. And remember, we haven't even heard about what the bonuses are going to be from military, economic, cultural, or religious alliances. We don't even know yet what those are going to be. So some really interesting information still to come. And again, read the comment section below probably for some discussion on that as this information is coming out. And I will try and put out other videos as large amounts of information can be compiled. Yet another new system that's being added in Civilization 6 is the emergencies system. These trigger when one player achieves a significant lead or advantage in the game. Now, don't panic. I know what some of you are thinking. Oh no, they're going to try and rein in players that get an unfair advantage. Wait, because I know how you feel when you're playing a strategy game. Sometimes you just like getting really far ahead and just feeling like you're literally on top of the world. That's part of the fun, is the possibility that that can happen if you play very well and or get lucky. So the type of emergency trigger that you might see is if a holy city gets converted to another religion. That's a big deal, right? Not just any city, a holy city. A home city for another religion gets converted to your religion or to another player's religion when it's your religion's home city. So that's a big deal. If a nuke is dropped, that might be an emergency. So when these things occur, the game gives other players a choice. Do you want to take emergency action against this player that has this extreme advantage? Now, here's why I said not to worry. If those objectives are completed, yes, the players that joined against that leader that has the significant advantage get permanent benefits to help them catch up and defend themselves. If they fail, which means if the leader can hold off the players that join together for the emergency action, and they're able to hold off those players from accomplishing the emergency objectives in time, the target of the emergency action, the player with the advantage, will get permanent benefits. So they actually get boosts from having successfully defended their lead. So it's possible for a player that gets really far ahead to maintain their lead, but it also introduces more dynamism. When you get that great lead, it's not guaranteed. It's possible for it to be challenged, and it's possible for the challenge to go against you. And then all of a sudden, you'll find the rest of the world catching up to you because they all joined up and banded against you. Really cool stuff. So the lead designer and the team hope that this is going to make the game less stagnant in the late game. And it sounds like it has a pretty good shot. And it also might involve, as they said in the dev diary, more isolated civilizations that maybe don't interact with the world as much. This gives them a chance to kind of band together with the other civs and say, hey, yeah, I'm going to help out because this civilization scares me, or whatever the reasoning might be. Now, before I wrap this video, I want to talk again about storytelling. I talked about this early on. Again, historic moments are being added to the game. They're basically mini achievements earned throughout gameplay. They increase your era score, which increases the likelihood of a golden age occurring. But they're also added to the timeline, which is a spot in the UI that displays your accomplishments in the game. And there are custom illustrations for each moment. And this makes a more dynamic representation of your civilization's specific history. There are over 100 historic moments already programmed into the game. Some examples: circumnavigating the world, training a unique unit, founding a religion, or building districts with high adjacency bonuses. Again, this is all straight from the dev diary. There could be others as well, such as the first civilization to control an entire continent, or something like that. Being the world's first, speaking of that, to certain achievements may grant bigger bonuses as well. So if you're the first person to do something, not only do you get the historic moment, but you get to be the first in the world to do it, and you get a boost towards a golden age that's even better as a result of that. This just helps you create a unique story and makes the game more immersive than it already is. If you're like me and you have one hell of an imagination, it's not difficult to make a game like Civilization really immersive and fun from a emergent storytelling point of view, but when the game really helps and gives you that additional depth, it's that much better. So I'm really excited about the storytelling focus that they've added as well. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a major expansion to Civilization without new civilizations and leaders. There are 9 new leaders and 8 new civilizations. So the 9 new leaders, I've clarified this. 8 of them are the leaders for the new civilizations, which means 1 of the existing civilizations, we don't know who yet, as of the recording of this video, is getting an additional leader. I do want to mention as well that not necessarily covered verbally in the dev diary, but covered visually, are several changes that you also expect with a major update, and I'm going to put these screenshots on the screen right now so that you can see them. You can also go to the dev diary, which is again linked in the description if you want to look at them in a more, if you want to look at them without pausing the video, basically. When you look at these screenshots, they're showing us a bunch of new natural wonders, a bunch of new wonders. It also looks like some new structures, and maybe even in one place, I'll see if you can spot it, and maybe I'm wrong, but a new resource as well. So lots to tease apart. There might even be threads in various sub-communities of Civilization 6 already discussing what exactly is in these screenshots, but it definitely appears there's a host of new wonders and natural wonders as well. Now, before I conclude, let me just say one more time. This dev diary, this announcement that I've just covered, is just the beginning. There will be, Firaxis has already said this in the announcement, plenty more to be discussed, so stay tuned for additional coverage on the channel. The release date for Rise and Fall is February 8th of 2018, and that's it for me. Thanks so much for watching. New episodes in this are going to be coming out, well, as soon as they decide to put out more content. Enough for me to make a video anyway. Comments are welcome as always. Please feel free to discuss everything we've just gone over in the comments below, and let's actually talk about some of the other things we might want to see in Rise and Fall, because remember, Firaxis pays attention to that stuff. So feel free to use the comments below as a sounding board, or to add anything you might have heard since then if I haven't done a video yet. And I'll see you next time.